Hello everybody! Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. This is Ria Luz of Buhay sa Amerika, right at home. And I'm so blessed to have the FANHS-ARIZONA Chair and President, Ate EVELYN Casuga. FANHS stands for Filipino-American National Historical Society. And what an honor to have our very own president of FANHS here with us today. Maraming salamat, Ate, for joining me into this broadcast.
You bet. Thank you so much. We're honored to be representing FANHS today, and I'm just thrilled to join you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, and look, as we are celebrating the happy Filipino-American History Month, what an amazing grace that God has given us this chance to celebrate Filipino-American History Month, and together with you, especially showcasing the valuable contribution of Filipinos here in America, and especially here with us in Arizona.
Right.
Yes, you are the chair and president of the FANHS, Filipino-American National Historical Society of Arizona. How did you get involved with FANHS, Ate? Can you start share with us this?
Beginning with FANHS, well, didn't do it by myself. Deb Gomez, who is also one of the officers of the organization, she and I have been active with FANHS for a number of years. The national organization has actually been around for quite some time, since about 1987.
Wow.
And Arizona is the 35th chapter in the U.S. There's multiple ones in California, of course. There's, I think, 3 in Washington State, because that's the headquarters office. But we decided we needed to have one in Arizona. And about 2016, Deb Gomez and I thought, you know what, let's do this. We have many Filipinos in Arizona, and we need to start capturing what is happening here and the history in Arizona of Filipino Americans. And so we gathered a core group of people, including Leo Aromin and Dr. James Campbell. And now we have Marietta Stites and Jenny Strickler and Lonnie Patubo, who is our amazing ambassador.
I'm just about to make sure we mention Lonnie Patubo.
Of course. And we've got several young people involved from the beginning. Gerald Boholano, yes, who has some amazing relatives as part of what FANHS is all about. And many others. And so we're glad to have established this chapter here in Arizona. Just a little bit about FANHS by itself, national. It was started, as I mentioned, in 1987. The founders were the late Dr. Fred Cordova, yes, and his wife, Dorothy Cordova, who is still running and who is still the executive director of the organization, as I mentioned, up in Seattle. They have been involved with Filipino-American they had their own organization prior to this one, the Filipino Youth Activities, which was a multi-service organization to serve Filipino Americans in Seattle, which is one of the largest populations of Filipinos in the United States, starting back in the early 1920s. So Fred and Dorothy decided to take this on as a way to document research, whether it's to capture the whole history of Filipino Americans, and so that it can be shared with present and future generations, that we do have history here, and we're part of American history as well. And so that's why they started it. And like I said, there are now 38 chapters of FANHS across the country, and we're just glad to be one of them here in Arizona, and hope that we can grow that as well. Because as you know, our population is growing.
Yes.
There have been Filipinos in Arizona actually since the 1920s. There were some professionals. A lot of the folks that came were the men, the manongs, who came here in the beginning. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But going back to Filipino-American History Month, this year, the theme is the history of Filipino-American activism.
Wow.
We can touch on that. Last year, we were honoring Pinays, the women Filipino-American. That was last year.
The theme of this year, I have to write it down. So
Sure.
those who are theme this year,
The history of Filipino-American activism.
history. I am getting slower in typing. History of
Activism.
activism, which is a really great topic to talk about, because I heard that you have get the chance to meet the FIL-AM. Mahirap mag-type at mag-isip.
You're doing two things at the same time. I understand.
History of FIL-AM activism.
Activism, yes. And that's it's certainly in light of all of the other momentous things that are happening in 2020. You know, not to mention the pandemic, but certainly
Yes.
all of the other activities that are going on in terms of social and racial justice and just awareness of who we are as a country, and that we need to celebrate all of us who are here, and make sure that that we give each other respect and honor as we are here in this country. So
Yes.
Americans have been very, very active, and I could talk a little bit about that right now. Are we ready?
Maybe we should give a pause, because I just wanted to highlight some of the people who are actually watching us live now. Yes, we have people watching us live all the way from every parts of the world, including here in Arizona. Our very own Alvin Silva, who is the president of the Arizona YouTubers.
Oh, wow.
He's one of the best, our best DJ in town. And Vines all the way from Mindanao in Philippines.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we're waiting for us. And thank you, Adri Vines. And I see Maynard TV all the way from Philippines as well. And Maria K, another wonderful sister who's, I believe Maria is in Middle East somewhere.
Oh my goodness gracious. This is exciting.
Yes, and I told you we have the Leia Salonga of the YouTubers, bloggers, that a group I have, Team Hope, Rod's Doctor Strange, which will ask Dr. Rod Strange to join us later on.
Okay.
For your mom, because I am expecting that you can share to us something about your mom and what she has done for you and for many of us. Ayan.
Thank you.
Oh, sabi nga, nako, sayang, I'm out. Hindi siya pwedeng kumanta. But it's okay, Rod's Dr. Strange. There will be another time that you will be able to sing for us.
I look forward to hearing her.
Yes. And ayan, si Ate Marieta Skies, ang ating very, very supportive sister.
Yes.
Whether it is on Facebook, on YouTube. In fact, Ate Marieta Skies is very much involved in our community here in Arizona. And she's the one who actually shared to me about you running for the Pinal County Community College Governing Board, District 3 of Central Arizona Community College. And that is one thing, I did not read your very, very beautiful bio and accomplishment, but I post that in my YouTube description of this in the link. So people will be able to hear, because just reading your bio will take us an hour.
No, it's long because I'm old. That's why I've been able to.
It's beautiful because with all the accomplishment that you have, it gives us more pride as Filipinos to know that you have accomplished this in America. What a joy and pride to all of us. It is our happiness that when one of us go and reach that level, we too take the pride in what you have received. In fact, maybe I should read to them. For those of you who are not on YouTube, but you are on Facebook at Buhay sa Amerika page, please like and subscribe po Buhay sa Amerika for all of you who are watching and not new or not yet familiar with Buhay sa Amerika. And this is our way of promoting our kababayan here in America, the stories of our kababayan, every Filipino, every one of us here in America or everywhere in the world has a story that can inspire others. And just like Ate EVELYN Casuga's story, I was so inspired, uh, especially meeting you in 2017, Ate, and now meeting you as I'm interviewing you personally and your story. I just wanted to let others know who is EVELYN Casuga. So let me read to them a short snippet of your accomplishment. After 25 years, Ate EVELYN retired in December 2014 as the General Manager of Community Affairs at APS. That's Arizona
Public service.
Public Service. Her area encompassed community relations, corporate contribution, and volunteer programs, economic development, and strategic partnership. She served in numerous leadership roles during her tenure at APS, including Southeast Arizona Division Manager with operations, maintenance and construction, and community interface responsibilities. Previous to APS, her roles include nearly 10 years in municipal government, serving as city manager of Eloy and town manager of Marana, Arizona, and 5 years in nonprofit roles as manager of community client development for Western Gateway Team, a regional economic development group serving 5 West Valley communities and 3 community-based organizations in Central California. Ate EVELYN, I learned a very, very great word, and it is called Ate EVELYN is a certified economic developer, community developer, and serves on the board of directors for Arizona Town Hall, Business Development, Finance Corporation, Casa Grande, Elementary School Employee Benefits Trust, Filipino-American National Historical Society, Arizona Chapter and Chair, Growth Partners Arizona, Local First Arizona Foundation, and PINAL, Alliance for Economic Growth, and past chair, including Achieve Pinal Subcommittee. She is an advisory committee member to Asian Corporate and Entrepreneur Leaders and Arizona Rural Development Council Policy Forum. You are also a recipient of the William Lampkin Long-Term Excellence in Economic Development Award and Economic Developer of the Year from the Arizona Association for Economic Development. Received so many profiles of success, special recognition and award from Valley del Sol in September 2016, the Asian Pacific Community in Action Community Leader Award, and also received the Governing Board Award from Central Arizona College in Pinal County in 2013, and is an honorary member of Arizona City County Management Association. Amazing contribution and more I could read. And you received your Master of City and Regional Planning from the University of California, Berkeley, and your undergraduate degree in community studies psychology from the University of California, Santa Cruz, and a very loving wife to our Uncle Jerry Stabley. And you are a great resident of Casa Grande, Pinal County here in Arizona, and more accomplishment at the end. Which, if you haven't been my friend in YouTube, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then you can see the rest of Ate Evelyn's accomplishment in the description below, because there's more to share about Ate Evelyn. That's why today we are recognizing the Filipino-American History Month, and that with the theme of history of FIL-AM activism in America. So Ate Evelyn, you were sharing about earlier about fans and about activism. Since talking about we're on the topic of the history of Filipino-American activism, can you share with us the very famous Filipino activist that we know of, our Manong Larry Icleong? I heard that you have the chance to interview this great man. Could you kindly share to us that story?
Sure. I'll go backwards just a little bit, because Filipino-American activism was alive and well for a very long time. Let's go back to the 20s and 30s. And that's where Manong Larry Itliong really found his passion, because as he was working in the farms and fields of the West Coast, very much like my father did, and hundreds of thousands of other Filipino men at the time, farm workers were not necessarily treated in the way or paid in the way or had conditions that were conducive for a healthy life.
Yes.
And so clearly, there was a need to change that. And changing that meant having a voice and speaking clearly about the humane treatment of human beings doing farm labor here in the United States. And so that's where Larry Itliong really found his calling.
Yes.
And as hopefully as many of you know who are listening, he was one of the organizers, along with, and some folks don't know this, but I think it's more and more known, that he was alongside with Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta during the Delano strike, a grape strike, and bringing voice to the needs of farm workers back in the day. I mean, the work is not done, clearly, but Larry, along with Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta, really brought attention to the need for better treatment and wages of farm workers at the time, and they founded the United Farm Workers Association. So that was very special already. But then when I was in college, and this was in the 70s, for those of you who need the timeline, 72 to 76. And that's where I found my own voice in terms of who I was as a Filipino-American. I'm American born. My mom and dad were both from the Philippines, but I was born in Central California. And I met up with a handful of students. There weren't too many of us at the time. But we had one of our fellow students who organized us to form a subgroup of the Asian American Student Association. So we became another organization as well, focused on Filipinos. And about my senior year in 1976, we were organizing a Filipino-American conference to bring Filipinos together. Actually, I think it was an Asian American conference, and we had, the subset. Well, I can't even remember how it happened, but we had contact with Manong Larry Itliong, who was in his 70s already at the time. And he agreed to come on campus and be a presenter at our conference at
Wow.
the Santa Cruz. And he did that willingly, because just like I feel like I'm doing now, it's like you need to tell the story and bring the younger people, because I was in my early 20s at the time, make sure the younger people know the story and that we carry it with us as we go forward in our personal and professional lives. And
Yes.
so the guy was amazing. A lot of passion, very, very cantankerous. He made my classmate, Debbie Panganiban, maybe she will listen to this. She and I had our cassette tape, and we just had a conversation with him all night. He stayed up all night with us and just discussed what it was like in the farms. And then he talked about what it was like trying to organize the people and to try and bring the issues to bear of what needed to change in terms of farm worker, as we talked about, farm worker treatment and wages, to bring a better life to them. So I'm gonna show my
Yes.
So this is a documentary that was produced by Marissa Arroy, a very famous filmmaker now, Pinay. She produced this a few years ago. I can't remember what year. And she got a hold of the tapes that
Yes.
Debbie Panganiban and I had taped about from Larry, because she had saved them all these many years. And so this is accessible. It's called the Delano Manos. It's the story of farm labor organizer Larry Itliong and a group of Filipino farm workers who instigated one of the American farm labor movement's finest hours, is written on here, the Delano Grape Strike of 1965. And so that's how my life became entangled with someone that we need to look up to. There is now a children's book about this story. Dawn Mabalon, bless her heart, who passed away a couple of years ago, and oh my goodness, I forgot Romocito, the author of the book. There is a children's book that tells this story as well now, and so that's part of what FANHS is trying to do, is really share the story of Filipino Americans in the United States, because it started long ago. And other activist activities, not just the farm worker movement. We were, back when I was in college, we were looking at ethnic studies and bringing that to bear. It's like, hey, we've gotten a version of history as we were growing up as children here in the United States, but not the whole story. And everybody has a story, regardless of where you come from, regardless of who you are. And we needed to know that. And so we thought we could bring that story, at least at the college level at the time. So whether it was Filipino-American history, Asian history, African-American history, the Hispanic movement, or just the story of Mexican-Americans and Latinos in the United States. Those were the stories we weren't necessarily hearing about at the time.
Yes.
So ethnic studies was a big part of activism. And, flash forward to today, where that's still a part of a struggle where we need to tell that story. Look at the nurses and the health professionals who are working through this COVID era. And that is a story that we need to capture as well. And who's at the front line? A lot of Filipino-American health workers, right?
Yes.
Ria, you are one of them. You are one of them. And there's many more. And that is part of the history that we need to document, because we're playing a role in the overall history of this country and what is making this country the special place that it is. And that's why there are so many of us here, because our families have decided that this is a place where we can move up and move forward and bring a better life to ourselves and our families. So that's the activism that we're talking about. It's still present today. Certainly encourage folks to read about the history of Filipino-American activism, but then put it in the context of what's happening today, because it is still alive and well. and where people need to bring voice to the stories.
You're very right, Ate. And I love to see your face very clearly. Unfortunately, there is some grainy, the camera's not getting your, I think maybe your camera should be a little farther. So,
Part so I can move it.
yeah.
Does that make it better?
So it's not grainy. That you have such a beautiful aura. Yeah.
I'm sitting by a window.
The weather is disrupting our transmission. That's probably why. Last time I looked, I'm in the horror movie when I come in because my transmission was not so clear. At this time, your transmission is a little bit grainy, but what a lovely way to express to us what is fans and what our Manong Larry Itliong has done for us here in America.
Yes.
And I think the team Filipino-American activism in America is not ending. In
No.
fact, it is revolving and even growing as because of fans, because of what you are doing to create awareness to us, just like Lani Relyamas Patubo. I just saw his name and look at that.
There he is.
This is the guy who is actually as active as the Delano Manong strikers.
He is.
Doing for us here in Arizona is really transplanting so much research, and he's absorbing all the roots, historical roots of Filipinos in America. And so, Lani, even if you're not right here, I know you're driving right now to work. We applaud you and we appreciate you for what you do, for giving us so many information as Filipinos. We learn so much from the past through your research. And so, diba, I have to talk to you back and forth in my language. Ate EVELYN Casuga is Casuga. is not speaking, speaks more of English.
Right, sorry, I'm handicapped that way.
No, you're not handicapped. In fact, somehow it was a blessing that you can speak English fluently without having to translate in your head how to say it in English. Because many of us who are from the Philippines, we still have to translate in our mind how to say the word in a better manner. So ayan, hi Miss President, sabi ni Lani Relyamas Patubo. Ayan, fans, AZ, USPH. What is USPH? US Philippines. He probably wrote the flag.
Yeah, he did. He has the two flags.
And we got another actress. This is Elaine Resurrection, my niece, who is actually the teacher of the year in Yuma County.
I heard. Congratulations to Elaine. We are very, very proud of you. And we know that you're bringing the Filipino-American history story to your students as well. There are a lot of Filipino Americans in Yuma, and they've been farm workers there for a very long time. Plus, you have the military, and there are a lot of Filipinos in the military also. So thank you for doing what you're doing. We applaud you as an educator.
That's wonderful. And we thank you, Elaine and Lani, for bringing to us this awareness. And thank you, Ate EVELYN, for leading us into this journey. And now we spoke about fans. We spoke about our Uncle Fred and Dorothy Cordova and Manong Larry Itliong. This time, I want to focus now on you as your own Filipino-American activism. And I know that you have officially run, and now even without casting the ballot, people already made you a winner, becoming Pinal County Community College Governing Board of District 3 of Central Arizona Community College. How does it feel to be in that position, Ate? What did you first think when you run and then suddenly, now you know,
Well,
without the election, you won?
okay, I haven't been seated yet because
Yes,
clearly the election is happening, but it's been interesting. I I haven't run for office before,
yes,
and so this was my first attempt. And the gentleman who's been sitting in that seat, where I live here in Pinal County, just north of Casa Grande for Central Arizona College. Um, the incumbent decided to retire. He's been sitting in that seat for 24 years. I admire and have great respect for. His name is Rick Gibson. Decided to really retire from his work and in this volunteer role as the governing board member. And I asked him, I said, Rick, I'm interested in your seat. I've got a passion for education. And certainly I did a little part-time work with the college when I retired also. I just left in March so I could run. And Mr. Gibson just gave me the thumbs up. He says, go for it and get your petition signed early and turn it in. And what what happened, this was early March, all of us knew what happened, COVID hit. I filed my papers on March 9th, and then we went into isolation on March 15th. Now, typically, when you're running for office, you have to get signatures of your district and for the seat that you're running, you need a certain number of signatures. And you usually get it at events or people you know. Well, now we couldn't go anywhere and I couldn't get any signatures. So I got some great advice from a political consultant here in Arizona who's very active in the education space. He goes, you know what you can do, Evelyn? Take the permanent early voter roll list. Find the people in the district who you know, who are your friends and acquaintances. Send them a petition in the mail, snail mail. You know, usually you see people with their clipboards and sign.
yes,
We couldn't do that. We were in isolation.
yes.
And so I sent out, I don't know how many I sent out, maybe a couple of hundred, maybe 300. Well, lo and behold, I sent them a letter. I sent them the reason why I'm running, and I got enough signatures. I only needed 101. I ended up with over 500. So was truly blessed to have people step up, sign the petition. They had to certify it on the back, mail it back to me. I had to collect them. I turned them in early July, and I was on the ballot.
Wow.
So, but what has happened recently, as I was explaining to you, Ria, earlier, I was the only person running for that seat.
Yes.
So I had no competition. Nobody else took out petitions. Nobody else was a write-in candidate. And in an effort to simplify the ballot, the Pinal County Board of Supervisors are allowed to cancel an election. And not only for in this case, the community college, but special districts and some other school board elections where there's no competition, because it actually makes it easier for the voter, because the ballot is more as complicated as it is. And they were trying to just keep it to, a single piece of paper rather than pages and pages. And I got the call from the elections office and said, hey, Evelyn, we're going to put you're one of these special cases. you're the only one running. And we're going to just have the Board of Supervisors cancel the elections. I said, well, what does that mean? It's like, well, that means you're in. I'm like, I'm in. So lo and behold, I have the good fortune now of somewhat official. I haven't got anything in the mail official, but I know they took action in August to take care of this. And hopefully by the beginning of the year, I will be sworn in as a new governing board member for Pinal County Community College, the governing board, District 3, and be seated for it's a 4-year term. And I will be privileged and honored to represent this this district on behalf of the voters, working for the governing board for the community college, which is very, 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 very important. Pinal County is once again going to be a hub of a lot of activities, and education is going to be key for the students, whether they're young students or adults that need to be reskilled and re-educated, to get new skills for the jobs that are being created by a number of new companies that are landing here in Pinal County. So that's a passion of mine, to make sure that the education was key for my professional and personal success. As I'm on the other side. I've retired already once, although I decided to keep doing stuff that's passionate to me. But people need to know that education is key to the success of our economy, and certainly to the families in the state of Arizona. So I'm pleased that I'm going to be able to serve in that capacity.
Well, look, your resident is just so happy. Lani Rillamos Patubo already congratulate you, Ate Evelyn, as Pinal County resident. I'm happy to hear the great news. And you know what? Because of this great news, even Maynard TV, all the way from Philippines, sent us a $50 super sticker just to congratulate us.
Oh, yay! Thank you, Maynard.
Thank you. In YouTube, when people are enjoying what they hear, they can, and they feel they wanted to support you, they send this super sticker or chatter. That's when your YouTube channel becomes monetized. Then people can send you some support. Yes, that's the beauty of. That's why many Filipinos nowadays are becoming most grown number of YouTubers are Filipinos nowadays. As here in Arizona, we have the Filipinos as the #1 Asian community in population.
It is.
In YouTube now, we are growing like mushrooms.
That's
and
great.
Maynard TV, this is one of those very supportive brother that you should know, and please connect. Maynard TV po, ang kanyang pangalan ng kanyang channel. Napakadaling tandaan, Maynard.
Maynard TV. Hey, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maynard, for your support, and to all of you. And Jancy, another brother that I love to recognize and always highlight is my brother Madman Bobo. He's another YouTuber who is not a Filipino, but he loves the Filipino. He supports the Filipinos. And thank you so much, my brother Madman Bobo. And ang aking kapatid na si Thomas Sagayo, all the way from San Francisco.
All right. Bay Area. Very good.
And Ate Maria Tastay, she's so happy. I'm sure she's doing a dance.
There you go. I can see her doing it. I see you. I can see you dancing.
You know, she's the one who told me about you running for your office. And when I heard about it, and I said, how can we get in touch of Ate Evelyn so we can support her in her run for office? And we did not know that story, but because of your tenacity, because of your ability to connect with people, you know, I would never answer anyone's mail if I don't know the person, but because you have planted great seeds in your community, people actually responded. Because even if you send me a letter and I don't know you, I will never answer back and say, yes, I will sign for you. You know, it always shows that you have planted great seeds at Pinal County. As I was I just read that amazing accomplishment that you have. It really provides us an ability to see how far you have come along those lines ng accomplishment mo. And sabi ni Marina Asidero, congratulations, Pinay Pride.
Right.
Marina is watching all the way from Chicago.
Chicago. The last FANHS conference before the one that just got canceled in Hawaii, the last FANHS conference was in Chicago 2 years ago. We had a fabulous time. Fabulous time. Yeah.
Definitely. Na so many people are going back. Ayan, nandyan na si Agribines. At si Elaine, I know Elaine, you're waiting for us. I will give you the chance to come up, Elaine, in a short time. After this, I wanted to highlight, as you have mentioned, Ate, how many people came to aid you into this ballot, sending their letters and certifying that they want you to be in their ballot. They want you to lead them. It's because of what you have done to them. It's because of what you have done to the community. But I know there is something that happened in your family recently that you are still in mourning. I know that your mom just passed away recently, and I wanted to give highlight to when you shared to me what your mom has done for the many Filipinos that come and gone in your house, and your family has taken care of them. I always think what that story that you have shared is actually going back to your mom. So would you share with us a little bit about your mom? And
You bet. And forgive me, I get a little bit emotional. Sadly, my mom passed away on Monday peacefully. My husband and our son and I were there at her bedside. She was 94 and had a blessed life. And how fortunate for my, not just me as her daughter, but all of our family members and the extended family and friends, um, to have her part of our life and making an imprint on who we are today. My mom was one of what is known, she's a pioneer, and in terms of her coming to the United States back in 1952. She was a Filipino war bride. And for a little bit of history, because it is Filipino-American History Month, so I mentioned that the Manongs who came here in the 1920s, they were not citizens at the time. They worked the farms and fields and the Alaskan canneries, as I mentioned, and they were not allowed at the time. It was against the law for people of color to marry outside of their race. They were called anti-miscegenation laws. And so, they had the single life in America. All of these men working in the farms, and lo and behold, World War II was breaking out, starting to break out. The early 30s, into the 40s, of course. So a number of these men who had now spent their young lives here in the United States wanted to be part of the service. They joined the all branches of the armed services here in the United States, and were able to fight in many fronts during the World War II. So my dad, like a number of other Filipino men, the Manongs at the time, they got stationed in the Philippines. Well, guess what they're going to find? They were going to find a lot of the young ladies there, and so many of them were able to find the loves of their lives, and actually brought them back to the United States. And so there's a whole generation. My mom was just one of the last of the Filipino war bride generation who came here. And I'm a product of that union as a baby boomer, after World War II. And that's how she got her start here. It was very humbling. She was on a in a field where my dad was working and lived slept on a bench with a mosquito net over her in central San Joaquin Valley in California when she first arrived. They didn't have a house, um, and so that was her beginnings. But then she started working in the packing houses. So those of you who don't know what the heck is a packing house, Central California, very rich in agriculture. Every fruit and vegetable ever known and grown is grown there and shipped all over the world. So the packing houses, she worked mostly in the citrus and oranges, and they used to have them here in Arizona in Mesa. It was sun-kissed. It still is sun-kissed in a lot of places. So she worked in the packing houses. So that's how she contributed to the family income. My dad continued to work in the fields. He actually worked for one farmer, taking care of his orange orchards. But my mom also worked in the packing houses that shipping out plums and nectarines, and then the grape harvest, table grapes in the fall. So that's where she was working, and they made a good life for me. And our house, and Taria, you and I were talking about this earlier. Our house became an informal port of entry, in that all of the family members that came in after her were they put them up, they fed them, they housed them, they clothed them if they needed to, and got them started here in America. And I know that goes on today as well. So I think you're still on, Ria. I just don't see you.
I wanted to give you the highlight on this one. That's why I hide myself.
Ready to go. Yeah. And yes, and look at this. Lonnie's talking about the farms and field here in Arizona, because the men migrated to the farms wherever there was the harvest going on. Here in Arizona, citrus, grapes harvest, Yuma, uh, Glendale in Maricopa County, when it was a lot of farms and fields there too, just like Central California, all up and down the West Coast, and certainly in the Midwest as well. So this story about how Filipino Americans established themselves here in the United States had very humble beginnings, but it paved the way and opened the door to a lot of the folks who are now still coming. Because in 1965, U.S. immigration laws changed yet again, allowing for professionals from other countries, and in the Philippines in particular, because of the relationship with the United States, they were able to come. And so our house still became the port of entry for the professionals who were coming over, the nurses and the accountants and the doctors. The college educated folks started coming in the mid 60s as well. And we're seeing it continuing on today. And so I think that I can look back at my family for what the role that they played. I'm sure we're not. I'm just one of many of families who did the same thing for their families and friends back in the 50s and 60s and the 70s in the last century, because that story is still going on today, as I said, and should go on, because we are caring for each other in nurturing our brothers and sisters who are joining us here for a better life, and for themselves and for their children, and so on and so forth. So is the part of the story. My mom, she retired from the packing house a number of years ago, but then I had moved to Arizona in 1983, and I got married in 1991, and my husband and I have a son who was born in 1993. So mom left the house in California. She sold it, packed up, and moved in with us. So she was with us for 27 years, and she helped raise our son. She actually raised our son. to be, truth be known, uh, my mom was the caregiver for our son this whole time. He's now 27 and working for PBS NewsHour, and we're very proud of him. But she provided that foundation for him. So I'm just thrilled that we were able to be part of her life and she part of ours for so long. And yes, she passed away peacefully on Monday, the 19th. And we'll have a mass on this Friday, and then she will be brought back to California to be buried with my dad, Smith Mountain Cemetery in Dinuba, California. And we were just blessed to have her for so long.
And I want to capture this picture of you honoring your mom, even though that was 28 years ago.
Right.
And who would believe, Ate Evelyn, that what you have accomplished now is, even though she has passed away, I'm just in tears knowing that you have made a difference in not only the lives of the people you touch, but into the many more lives that you will touch in the future. And because of your mom's foundation, what your family has done in honoring and welcoming every Filipinos that come to your house. That's why now you're reaping the benefit of the age, the merit of what you have done. Your family has done to other Filipinos, and look what you have accomplished and what you are making more. Ako naiyak ko.
I know. We have our. I know. Thank you, Ria. And couldn't have done it without my mom and dad, who were very active in our little community in Central California as well. They participated. They became part of the community, and did so much for the children in their community. And then my dad was, part of the Filipino, what was it called? The Filipino Club in the Central Valley, and my mom and the ladies started the Filipino Women's Club as well to capture and share the culture, share the culture, and everybody learned how to eat lumpia and pancit and adobo, and this was back in the 60s. There weren't a lot of Filipino things going on. Now we have our own food trucks and our restaurants here, which is great. But back then we only could do it at special occasions to share it with the rest of our community. So they were very much community minded, and myself growing up in the 60s as well, with our president at the time, John F. Kennedy, and with that spirit of giving back to your community. That's I think all of us have an opportunity to do that wherever you are and whatever you do, and whatever small way or big way. I know we have so many active Filipinos in Arizona. It's just very exciting, the possibilities of all of us collaborating and participating in whatever community. I mean, we've got all the way to Yuma on air today. So
yes. As our researcher, Lani Rillamas,
yes.
Central Valley, the sacred ground of our manangs and manongs. This guy is actually not born in that age, but he has that passion, the love for the history of the Filipinos in America. I think, Lani, after Ate Evelyn has run a successful run, you should run too.
There you go.
Next.
We all can be role models for each other. So you can do it. You can do it.
Yes.
And people should consider that, because it is a way to give voice to who we are and our whatever community we're representing. So
right.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much, Ate, for really bringing us that amazing story. And I just want to give a huge shout out, which our AgriBinds TV all the way from Mindanao is asking us to shout out na lang sa aking mga kamag-anak, 20 family watching and listening, sabi niya. So yan, si AgriBinds, very, very, if you have a YouTube channel, you look at AgriBinds and you will laugh and see the passion on this kid. this is the kid that I believe in the future will really make a wonderful channel in YouTube. Very passionate, very polite kid, and has a very talented, amazing young man. So, Agribay, saya na, shout out kita ng gusto. Favorite kong puntahan ng channel niya. Kasi I always laugh. I always have a chance to feel like you're very welcome every time you come to see his channel.
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that's what's exciting, right? I've had my professional life here for quite a while, but it's the young people that we're looking to
yes,
create a future, and it's just great to see Evervines and all of the other young folks that I know are joining.
Madman Bobo from California.
Yes.
Madman Bobo is from California. Agribans from Mindanao, and Pau, the water, is from Japan. She
Really?
yes, he's
Wow.
1 year all the way from Japan. And Jansha, thank you so much, Agribans, for staying, and Pau, the Wanderer, and andyan din. At now, dadali naman kita sa Yuma, ate. And I would love to invite ang aking niece, si Elaine. Elaine, turn on your unmute mo.
I'm sorry for that. Good afternoon, Ms. President. Good afternoon, Teacher Iya from Yuma, Arizona.
Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations to you too. Knowing that the Filipino woman will represent us in the Pinal County for the board. Thank you so much for that. We're very proud and honored for that.
Yeah. What school are you teaching?
I was teaching at the middle of Somerton. Really, at the middle of the Somerton Middle School.
Oh,
Only middle school in Somerton, yes. So it's where all of the Filipino farmers rooted from. And I was very lucky to be inside and teach in that particular school. When I was teaching there, when I was starting in Somerton Middle School, hey Lonnie, I was teaching in Somerton Middle School, that's the time that I found out that there are a lot of Filipinos who started there,
right,
who was living there. And before, when I just started here in Yuma, Arizona, I was invited to go in Somerton. I was like so far from Yuma. And then I found out there are a lot of Filipino farmers who migrated from Cebu, brought here in Somerton. They actually lived in Somerton, who was invited to live here just to farm. And then later on, they married some Americans, some Mexicans, and they started their family here. So from then on, I was like, okay, then I'll keep on continuing teaching in Yuma, Arizona. Then I transferred to Somerton Middle School. When I transferred there, that's the time that I found out that there are a lot of Filipino families, ancestors, and descendants still living in Somerton.
Yes.
Who were not known here in Arizona. So from then on, I had a contact communication with Lonnie Rillamas Patubo. And then he told me about the history, and I was like so overwhelmed. And I was like, okay, that's the start for me to, share the knowledge and information about the Filipino farmers. Since I was a teacher, I've been going with a lot of trainings, and I had a chance to inform to the Arizona Department of Education about our American History Month. About last week, I received an email from Linda Burrows, who was the author of the curriculum of social studies, and she was very much welcome to open the resources and share our Filipino-American History Month to all schools in Arizona. And she was asking me to share all of the resources, all of the information that we have. And I was like, okay, let me gather now. It's like, okay, Lonnie, can you give me all of the information so that we can share it to the whole Arizona Department of Education?
Oh my God. Yes. This is what it's all about. This is so exciting. Congratulations to you for taking that on. Oh my God. The connection with Lonnie.
Yeah.
That's why our Elaine Resurrection Ate Evelyn, so you can see the fruits of your labor, and now the younger generation will continue. And Elaine is very new in Arizona. She just less than 3 years, Elaine.
4 years.
4 years
Yeah.
now, and a young teacher here in Arizona. And Elaine has also been leading our part of Filipino community in Yuma. So
That's wonderful.
amazing how Yuma, Phoenix, Chandler, Gilbert, Pinal County, Maricopa County, and now Yuma County are so active Filipinos. So many active Filipinos are in Arizona now, and it that is something that I believe that's what fans can do. When
That's
we can learn our history, when we can learn the passion of all the Filipinos that came before us, then we can continue. And just like Elaine is doing that now.
This is ideal. This is amazing moment in time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is exactly what it was set up to do.
Yes.
And you're carrying it on, carrying on the legacy. That is
As,
outstanding.
as Lani says, Central Valley is the sacred ground of our manangs and manongs. Now Yuma will be the sacred ground of the
Right.
activism in Arizona from by bringing out the Filipino-American history, which, Elaine, congratulations.
Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Elaine took that risk, took the task, and be responsible. Lani just shared to Elaine, and Elaine took it to heart,
You took it on. You
put
took
it
it on.
into action, and now look what we
You're changing the Department of Education. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yes.
That is a very big deal. Oh my God, we're so proud of you. So proud of you.
Let's do it, Elaine, sabi ni Lani. Let's do it, Elaine. I'm sure, Lani, ayan, meron sinabi si Lani, I'm one of those, sabi niya, Summerton, where my grandpa soiled that soil as well. And I'm one of those Mexicanos.
Filipino, that's right. And proud of it. That's great.
Mexicanos, to those who does not know what it is, it's Mexican and Filipino descendants. Because as Ate Evelyn mentioned before, that the original Manos were not allowed to marry out of their race. And there were no enough Filipino women in the 1920s. So they actually ended up not married,
At all.
not had any children at all. So all these manongs toiled and worked hard in the field and no fertile family to continue their legacy, their lineage. And that's so sad. And Lani is so lucky that because of a Mexican, her grandparents
We
met
get Lonnie.
Lani. Yes. And thank you, Elaine, for passing the baton and a great job.
We're handing off, Elaine. It's your turn for sure.
I also need you guys as my mentor and supporter, and also the one who can advise me well about all of the information that I can share, because Filipino-American history is not just limited. It's actually unlimited information that we want to share, not just with the former generations, the present generations, but our future generations,
Absolutely.
right?
No, that's right. That's exactly right. And FANHS will be your source. Certainly, there's a lot of there's the archives in Seattle. There's the museum in Stockton, California. And so there's a lot of sources that where we can direct you to find what you need to just tell the story. I am so excited. Who knew? What a great surprise.
Yeah, this is a really great surprise for you, Ate Evelyn, as well as Lani says, I knew Elaine would be the great contact to help us move forward. And not only that, I think Elaine, do you know that Elaine is taking her PhD right now, Ate Evelyn?
No. In education?
Yes.
Yes, I'm taking off my PhD in educational management
Great.
So,
What institution?
it's actually in the Philippines University of Perpetual Health System.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm taking it like online classes, but all of my classmates were international. So I'm having a hard time. We're having a hard time dealing with the time, but it's okay. You know.
That's great. All right. When are you supposed to be done?
Hopefully, like about in 2 years' time, I'll be done with my PhD.
Do you know what your dissertation is going to be on yet?
I will probably do the Philippines and the United States educational system. I will probably compare about that.
Yeah, some aspect of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
And
However, we can be supportive to you.
Thank you. Thank you so
just-
much, President.
Yeah, we're here for you.
see,
Thank
Rani also want to mention here in Phoenix, Pinoy descendants proudly call themselves mestizos to acknowledge their Pinoy side. So, great job. And ang ating insan, si Kenneth Coderes, pumunta ka ng YouTube. Ano nga, Random Adventure PH ang Kenneth Coderes channel. Good evening, Ria, Elaine, and your guest. Yes, Ken, ang ating guest is the president of the Filipino-American National Historical Society of Arizona. So, yan si Ate EVELYN Casuga, ang certified economic community developer. And now, she is the Pinal County Community College Governing Board, District 3, Central Arizona Community College. What an amazing accomplishment, Ate. We're so proud of you. And as Filipinos, every Filipino that accomplished something, we share the joy and pride for what you have done. Thank you so much. And sabi ni Kenneth, Filipino women are doing great overseas. This is the age of women. No matter what you do, yes, you cannot
Thank
stop.
you for acknowledging.
When women unite, when women use our power and our feminine aspect and divine nature, we can do so much. And I think Filipinas has been in the forefront from the very beginning, ever since anyway. So Elaine, Ate EVELYN, congratulations and thank you so much. Ay Lani says, Bulosan Center for Filipino Studies at UC Davis. Yeah.
Yes, Elaine, that's for you on the.
Thank you. I'll take note of that.
Yes.
Lonnie has been sending me a lot of information.
Yes.
Taking notes of that.
All right.
And yes, ayan, si Marvinard TV nandyan pa rin, at saka ang ating si Kababayans nandyan pa rin, at saka si good morning sa inyong lahat dyan. At host and co-host and everyone, morning listening all the way from the Philippines, sabi ni Arthur Shit Barnes. Thank you so much, Arthur Shit Barnes, appear to you. At ang ating team Kasolid, maraming salamat sa pagpunta at sa pagsuporta ninyo sa aking live stream na ito. Ito'y napaka-importante kasi talagang as we are honoring the Filipino-American History Month and meeting our FANHS-ARIZONA President, Ate EVELYN Casuga, what an honor to have you. And I just wanted to highlight, ayan, si Nofes pala, Nofes Adventure. Thank you so much, sis. Ito, very supportive yan sa atin. Napakaraming salamat. The future.
Doctor.
Yes, AC. Yes. Maybe the next president.
Our scholar. Yes.
Yes, wait. I'm looking forward for that.
Yes, scholar. Agree morning la Halloween. Halloween na nga pala next week. And good morning sa inyo, Nofes Adventure, sabi niya. At Maynard, marami na pala akong binabasa. Nofes, good morning sa mga tao dyan. Nag-good morning na sila. And Ate Marietta says, thank you so much, Elaine. What an extraordinary moment. And thank you, Lani. Yes. So we are all so proud of you, Elaine. And thank you for sharing that wonderful news. Ayan, Si Ken Coderes po ang Random Adventure PH, watching from the Philippines. At very proud yan dahil pinsan namin yan, ni Elaine.
Oh, oh,
Elaine is my niece, and I only met her here in Arizona.
Arizona.
Aya, Yodi, Maynard, Kapalo, Nagid, mag-Ilonggo. Ayan, marunong na rin ako mag-Ilonggo. Harold, to all brothers and sisters, Kuya Utos, and Divine TV here for Tamsak support. Thank you so much, Bigla Probinte. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Agribines, for bringing your family and sending them. Maupay nga aga, haha, sabi niya. At Tamsak here, Bigla Probinte, thank you so much for coming. At good vibes, sabi ni Maynard TV. At andyan din nakikinig pa si Arthur Shikbans. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. So, Ate Evelyn, I know that you have so much things to do tonight, but please, can you share with us a little bit more advice and some nuggets of wisdom to all of us, younger generation of Filipinos who are here in America, and for those Filipinos who are wanting to come to America? Give us advice.
Sure. And it comes from my own passion. I think all of us, as I said a little earlier, have an opportunity to contribute to your community. And you define what your community is. It could be your geographic community. It could be your community of interest, like teachers. It could be Yuma. It could be wherever you're from. But be active. Be an activist. Going with the theme. In participating in finding your passion and to give back the gifts that you have been given, and whether that's as an educator, for instance, or as a nurse in Ria's case, or whatever it is you do, you have a contribution to make to your peers, to your community, and I just strongly feel that people need to step up. People need to step up and be a part of their communities to make it a better place for all. And one of the things that we can do, if you're here in the United States, it is election season. If you are a registered voter, if you haven't already, go vote. That is your voice. That is your voice. That is the one way that we can express how we choose to move the country in a certain direction. And so please, those of you who are registered to vote, please turn in your ballots early if you can. We turned ours in a couple of weeks ago. And like I said, just find the thing in your community that is special to you, because you're bringing your whole self to that. As Elaine has now shown us, learning about Filipino Americans in the Yuma area, that was huge. And now she's going to transform the social studies departments of every school in Arizona. I mean, how powerful is that? So her one little thing that was not so little at the beginning is going to go through the entire state and changing a curriculum. That's massive. Congratulations to you. But that is just an example of what all of us can do, regardless how where you are on the age spectrum. You have something to give. And that is my message to all of the listeners who are with us now, and the listeners who will be joining this conversation later on this evening or in the near future. So please participate as much as you can.
Yes, and sabi ni Lani Rellamas Patubo, great episode. Gotta sign off now because he has to work at 5 o'clock. Oh. And he said, happy Larry Itliong Day tomorrow, which is
his birthday. Yes.
25th. Ang ating manong Larry Itliong who put us in the map.
That's on right.
American activism, the very first one who put himself in the lives of the manong in the grapevines. Grapevines.
In the grapevines, yeah.
In California. Naalala ko kasi si Agrivines, kaya natawa ako sa grapevines at saka Agrivines. Talagang we started as an agricultural worker in America. And now look at what American Filipinos are doing in America. We're not just farmers anymore. We farm because we enjoy doing it. Like we farm in our backyard because we enjoy. We don't
Right.
have to be picking the apples and the grapes, but instead,
Farm workers, farm laborers is where they started.
yes,
Yeah.
and now Elaine she has now the apple. She's the teacher with
That's
the
right.
apple.
That's right. And that's what Manong Larry told us, that he wanted all of us, the future generations, to do better than they did. And that's what motivated him. And certainly learned that from my parents and all my mentors, the Fred and Dorothy Cordova, and all of the people that came before me, was very much ingrained. So we just need to keep moving it forward. So Rhea,
Yes.
thank you so much for having me today. And Elaine, what a you and
I think
information.
I think we were able to capture a very good way to end this segment with Elaine's very good, great news. Elaine, uh, thank you so much for this. I just want to highlight the people who are sharing to us. And Agribine says, isang mapagpalang araw na naman ang regalo sa atin sa umagang ito. Blessed Sunday to all people. To all, hope you will be in a good health right now with your family. Thank you so much, Agribines, and Ka-Healthy, Santi Melchor, thank you so much for joining ang ating mga kaibigan dyan. I-highlight ko lang at magko-copy time para muna si Arthur. Kaya tamang-tama, sa Pilipinas ay umaga, dito naman sa Arizona ay dumidilim na dahil madali nang kumabi. Kaya i-highlight ko lang, so nice to see all farm and agri-labor lovers. Proud agriculture here. Agribines is his family wants to promote the agricultural land in the Philippines.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Random Adventures and Maynard TV, thank you so much for being my super chatter today. And please connect to Maynard TV. Kung hindi pa kayo nakaka-support, nakaka-subscribe, ito po ay tulungan natin at i-promote natin lalo ang ating super chatter today. Maynard TV, madali pong tandaan, Maynard TV. At si Arthur Ship, magkadikit yung dalawa. Pag wala si Maynard, may Arthur Ship. Pag may Arthur Ship, may Maynard. Ayan, si Random Adventure PH, good day. And Maynard, sabi ni Random Adventure, I salute the farmers around the world, sabi niya, Arthur Ship Vines, Agribines. Maulanggid ang mga aganaton, Kuya Art, sabi niya. Ewan ko kung anong ibig sabihin nun, but I think maulan daw. Maulanon din ang mga aganaton. Maraming salamat to all of you. And Elaine, thank you so much for joining us and sharing this beautiful blessing. And as we mentioned, there is one more I wanted to highlight, ang trunk or treat this October 31st po at Chandler Jollibee from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Contact Norman Fernandez. Siya yung organizer ng trunk or treat instead of trick or treat. Trunk or treat is ate, you can come out with your car, dress up the car with the Halloween design, and they will parade the cars with the Halloween design, and whose car is the most beautifully designed wins. So yan ang isulat ko lang kasi yung
socially distanced Halloween celebration.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Social distancing, kaya trunk ng car. Trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat. Clever, very clever.
October 10:30 at 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. I-highlight mo lang kasi gusto kong ipakita kay Norman, trunk or treat on this October 30 at 5
30 or the 31st? Friday or Saturday?
Sa Friday.
Okay.
Trick or treat siya sa 31. Kaya sa lang siya trunk or treat on the 30th this Friday from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. So if you like to bring your car, it would be at the Jollibee in Chandler area. Yes, ang ating location. So thank you so much, Ate Marieta said. Thank you, Rhea, Ate Elaine, and Lani. Thank you so much, Ate Marieta Stites, for bringing to us another beautiful story. At Agribines is a proud farmer. Talagang we started farming and we can never get out of farming no matter what. And even especially this pandemic, farming is the way for all of us to eat.
Right.
Kaya Agripines, congratulations kayo at sa lahat po ng mga farmers at mga plant lovers. Ngayon sa Pilipinas may bago na pangalan, plantitos and plantitas. Kaya yes. And your mom, Ate Evelyn, is
Yes.
the original plantita.
Oh, yes. The gardener, the florist, the cook.
Yes.
All of the above. Yes.
And that all encompasses the Filipinas
That's right.
natural art.
Long tradition. Long
Yes.
tradition.
Yes. So with this, I don't want to hold you too long because I know you have a novena for your mom after this. So maraming salamat, Ate Evelyn. Jessica. And Elaine, do you have anything else to ask or share?
Happy Filipino-American National Historical Month for everybody here in Arizona. So not just a teacher, not just being a nurse, but also you just being a simple Filipino or being a Filipino-American in other way that there's a Filipino blood in you. Come join us and share our culture, our tradition to all people here in Arizona.
Yes, and thank you, Ate Cecil, for coming and nag-EG pa rin siya hanggang sa matapos. At si Maynard TV says, advance happy birthday at Arthur Schick Barnes partner. Oh, great job. Kailan ang birthday ni Arthur Schick Barnes? Para ma-shout out natin at makapunta tayo sa kanyang birthday celebration kahit online lang. Kaya maraming salamat, Elaine. Sabi ni, thank you, partner, and you're all invited to my birthday. Host and co-host October 31st at 10:30 p.m. Philippine time. We'll be there, Arthur Schick. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. And Elaine, Ate Evelyn, Elaine, thank you so much for bringing to us the great news.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
That's actually a really great wrap up for this event as we celebrate the Filipino-American history this October. At Evelyn, thank you so much for what you have done for us and for sharing this beautiful story. I hope that all our viewers get some inspiration. It takes one person to take the lead. It takes one person to take the responsibility to do the job. And look what Ate Evelyn has done, what Elaine has done, and what more. We all take the lead and say, I will do it. No matter what, I will do it. We will be able to surpass anything. And so maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. And thank you so much, Ate. And from here on, thank you so much to all of our viewers who joined us all the way from Philippines, Japan, and any parts of the world here in Arizona, here in YT, YouTube, and in Facebook. Maraming salamat po. If you haven't subscribed to Buhay sa Amerika, please like and subscribe Buhay sa Amerika po. This is Ria Luz of Buhay sa Amerika saying good night and we'll see you again. And maraming salamat po. Join us on October 30 for another show that will talk about fidelity in marriage in a pornified culture. So watch out for that very interesting topic. Yes. So thank you so much.